Okay, so first up, tell us who you are and what you do. Looking into camera.
My name is Christinus van der Vyver. I'm a senior state advocate with the Director of Public Prosecutions for the province of the Western Cape in South Africa. Well, so I'm a prosecutor in essence.
And what does prosecuting entail?
We do criminal work. It's bulk of our work is criminal work. We do a little bit what we call civil work when we get notice of motions, etc. So we make decisions, we prosecute serious murder cases, serious robbery cases, serious rape cases, serious commercial cases. We do appeals on behalf of the state. Yeah, that's basically what we do.
And how long have you been doing it for?
I've been with the Director of Public Prosecutions since 1992, but I've been a prosecutor before that for a couple of years, but I moved to the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions in 1992.
And you obviously love it since you haven't moved. What drives you? What motivates you?
No, I still, after all these years, there's a great sense of satisfaction if you see justice is done. But I must also qualify, justice done is not also necessarily where you win a case. I see justice is where pure justice was served. So if a person is found not guilty, then that is also justice. And I've done in a few cases where I had to address the court at the end of the day, tell the court that I think that there's shortcomings in the state's case. I don't see me as a representative of the state and that I must now present the case or an argument on behalf of the state because it's expected of me. After all, I'm an officer of the court, and therefore I would like my credibility and my integrity to be intact. So, but your sense, if there's a case, it's a bit of a relief if you sometimes give closure to family members of a deceased. We know that's not much in the bigger scheme of things, but if you had a big case and you pull it through, that sense of satisfaction, I think that's what drives me.
So when you're given a docket by a policeman after an arrest, how do you go about deciding that you're going to go ahead and prosecute a particular case? Because you've got that decision to prosecute or not.
Well, obviously you start to read the docket, and then you must first decide whether there are still further investigation that needs to be done. That's usually the case. Then you ask for the further investigation to be done. You follow up on certain allegations in the docket. You get clarity on certain aspects. And then if there's a prima facie case, then you decide to prosecute.
Has it always been the same, or has it changed a lot since 1992 and now?
No, definitely not. As I say, I've been a prosecutor before 1992 in the lower courts, and that has always been the case. That you only take a case to court where there's a prima facie case. I mean, you must remember that if you just go ahead and prosecute someone where there's clear indication that this person is not guilty, there can be a civil claim against your department, or it can sometimes even be in your personal capacity. So that is something that you must always keep in mind.
And do you have any standout cases in your career that have stuck with you that you're never going to forget?
Yeah, the Heinrich van Rooyen matter is one that comes to mind. What was of very particular interest for me and special is because I grew up in Knysna. So I was there in school. So that was something to go back there and to prosecute in the matter. Recently, incidentally also in Knysna, it's 9 years after the incident that we charged the ex-boyfriend for the murder of his former girlfriend. And he was found guilty solely on cellular phone records. That was also very interesting. Analysis of SMS, when it was sent, when it was answered, when it was read, things like that. There's the Maggie Titus and others in Oudtshoorn. Maggie Titus, she was a councillor for the ANC in Oudtshoorn. She hired people to kill her husband one night while she was in the house. That was also a very interesting case. Very interesting in the sense that I've never seen so much, well, I won't say support, but interest in a case like in the Maggie Titus matter. The court was packed every day. As a matter of fact, the chief magistrate had to make arrangements so to close the gate that only a number of people can come in. That was also a very interesting case, also built on circumstantial evidence.
Let's talk about Knysna. Tell me what type of town it is, the kind of people, the vibe.
Okay, Knysna was primarily, I moved there from grade 9, so that's many moons ago. At the time, and I suppose still, it's primarily a holiday town. It was very popular amongst the Free Staters and the Gautengers. There are very beautiful beaches surrounding Knysna, and there's the beautiful lagoon. It's a picturesque little town, which has obviously grown over the years. I must tell you that when I went back there to do the Heinrich van Rooyen matter, I was quite surprised and a little bit shocked when it became evident during the testimony and during the investigation of this case of the drug problem in Knysna, which is obviously something that I either did not know when I was living there, or it didn't exist. But that seems to be a bit of a problem at the time when I was there with Heinrich van Rooyen. I don't know how it is these days. The Heinrich van Rooyen matter is about 14 years ago, so hopefully this changed to the better. But it's a quiet little holiday destination. Yeah, well, when this case was landed on my desk, I obviously went through it. It was clear that this is a matter for the High Court because of the seriousness of the offences. And after we've fully investigated the matter further, we decided to charge Heinrich van Rooyen and in the circuit court in Knysna.
So what happened when you saw when the file came and you read through it? What was the story?
Well, the facts of the case is that within with less than a month, I think the first murder was the 13th of October and the other one was the 10th of November of 2005. 2 girls were found murdered in Knysna, which obviously was a big thing in Knysna, being a little town, and Heinrich van Rooyen was initially not linked to the first murder, but later on, when looking at other evidence, and there was a state witness who was traveling from George, which is an adjacent town. He was delivering bread during the night, and he saw when he drove past, he actually drove past twice with his truck, and he stopped at a red signal, and there he saw Jessica, which he obviously didn't know the names, but he saw Jessica and Heinrich van Rooyen sitting there on a little enclosure. Their flat is adjacent to a churchyard. And so he had time to look at them, and he drove past, he looked again at them. He was actually very hesitant in court, but the judge prompted him, and he actually admitted the reason why he was looking at this particular couple is because the one was black and the other one was white. And the judge said, you know, that's I can still imagine why some people would still find this of particular interest. So then he came back and he saw them again. So then he went on to Plettenberg Bay, which is on the other side of Knysna, and when he returned the next morning, he said he saw there was a commotion in the churchyard, and he saw there are police, and so he stopped and he asked what was going on, and they said, well, a girl was found murdered in the churchyard.